passages by Ira Sachs. I haven't seen his work before. I think his films, it seems from the conversations I've had, I've heard of him. It seems these films have mostly existed on the kind of queer circuit or the circuit of lesbian and gay films. And this one, for whatever reason, seems to be breaking out. Perhaps because, in a sense, because the theme of the film is breaking out. It is a film about a love triangle where a homosexual relationship is destabilized by a heterosexual affair, a heterosexual obsession, which the character of the protagonist, the film director protagonist, Thomas, develops with Adele, Exarchopoulos' character, Agathe, and usurping Ben Whishaw, his husband, who he lives with in the film. So these three performances, I'm not usually crazy about Ben Whishaw. He's great in Nathan Barley. I think sometimes his performances feel a bit like Tilda Swinton, a bit sort of staid or forced. But I think every so often he's cast in a role which really, as with Tilda in The Souvenir, like leverages that kind of that mode. Maybe it's something to do with British actors. He in this kind of opposites attract dynamic that he has with the character of Thomas, played by Franz Rogowski, who I had a very amusing encounter with at the press conference. He complimented me on my ears, which
I've got the tape, mate. That's this is very funny. So you won't hear Ralph's question this, but you will. You asked a question about scripting and casting.
Yeah.
Different. That's what I'm always like. Isn't that how? I mean, a lot of people.
Is Ira Sachs.
Way, I would say.
Yes, I have to say something else. I was wondering if it's appropriate, but I have to tell you, you have amazing ears. They are very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Really nice ears. I think our improvisation.
The thing that makes this clip even better.
You're already riding high on this.
No, but the thing that sort of enhanced it for me in the moment, and it's not the most interesting thing was the answer he gave, which I loved, but and the answer Ira Sachs gave. But the thing that enhances it is that he like so many actors we've seen at the press conferences, he's very similar. He's at least maybe not in deed, but in tone. He's very, very similar to his character in the film. And his character in the film is absolutely mercurial. He is somewhat Fassbenderian, this kind of animal-like filmmaker, and I mean animal-like in the sense that whatever he's feeling in the moment, he totally embodies, and has a way of completely deserting that feeling later on when it's no longer useful or relevant. This leads him to behave in ways that viewers might find extraordinary, or selfish, or hurtful or cruel. But his performance doesn't elicit judgment. There was a question at the press conference about how a slightly discoursey question about how the parents behave in a very intolerant. The parents of the woman behave in a very intolerant way when they meet this guy who's dating their daughter. And Ira Sachs, I was very relieved to hear Ira Sachs say that he didn't actually think or intend this scene to cast those parents in a negative light. And then he proceeded to articulate a casting and improvisation and a non-rehearsal process, which was basically sort of like, without wishing to sort of get too indulgent, it was sort of basically like therapy, and this was echoed by Rogowski, saying that he felt very seen and cared for in a way that he doesn't always in films. So clearly Sachs is incredibly good at working with actors, but working with actors isn't enough to make a great film. Luckily, Ira Sachs also is incredible at composition in this film, and possibly in his others. I haven't seen them. The compositions and the way that bodies are depicted, even the sound, the way that light moves. The palette is somewhat similar to Me at Hanson Love, and some of the sensitivities that echo, things I liked about One Fine Morning, which I recently saw, and I think we should probably do a pod on her soon. But it had a bit more oomph, reflecting the vivacity of the characters, and just an extraordinarily energetic, devastating, love triangle. I mean, I was saying it in when after the Emily Atef, I was saying a bad love triangle film makes you think it's a completely tired and predictable format, but a good one makes you feel that each time these timeless stories can be imbued with new energy and context and detail, and that we don't need any novelty beyond that. Yes, I was restored to the more correct, optimistic position by this really fearsome work. It was astonishing. I think probably judging by, and this is not denigrating it, but I think judging by the standard of contemporary filmmaking, this is way ahead as best film of the year, unless I see something.
That's an incredible claim.
Unless
I'm really
I see something really great. Maybe
it's sold out so quickly.
Sold out very quickly. Genuinely word of mouth, functioning as it should here. But they didn't put on enough screenings of it. I don't know why they undersold it.
But obviously, when it goes into theatres, as they say, I think this is a definite MooBtube recommendation.
Absolutely, and it will be on Mubi.
It will actually.
It's been acquired by them, so it won't make much money, unfortunately.
Well, it was for me because I found out recently that I'm actually paying 2 subscriptions at once.
No, really?
So I've been paying double bubble to Mubi for the last few months accidentally.
That is an absolute disgrace. But you're propping up, you're keeping alive films.
I like to think of myself as a philanthropist.
I'll be really happy if Passages is like their worst person of the world of this year. I will feel like genuinely, because I think it will do well, and I think it is.
It's an English language film. This one.
Everyone speaks different languages. It's got well, it's French and English basically, but his character is German. He's a German actor, German Polish, I guess, and then Adele is French, and what's his job? Ben Whishaw is, of course, painfully English. But let me just look at my notes quickly.
If you've got any more to say. I mean, so how can you give me I like to have these little linkages. So can you give me something that it feels like or looks like to you? What's an equivalent film that you've seen from the archive? Or does it really stand alone in a way?
No, it is. I would refer back to One Fine Morning. I would also refer to Fassbinder as director. I think his work deals in a very unsentimental but very moving way.
Is he something like Holy Whore or Fox and Friends, that kind of?
Yeah, Fox and Friends, especially just because of this similarity between Fassbinder's own character and Rogowski's character. Maybe Cassavetes as well to an extent.
Ooh,
because there is a sort of they were a bit ambiguous in the press conference about how they use improvisation, but there's definitely actor work happening, and it really matters who plays who, but some of the lines are just so devastating, and it's just done. Even bits of it are sort of Bressonian, the way bodies move around. It's a real proper.
It's a film.
It's a like proper art house banger. Yeah. And it's really and it's like sexy and it's devastating and then these kind of moments. The music is also really restrained. After a week of like incredibly excessive saccharine music, we finally found a bit of actual genuine restraint with this sort of jazz music that's deployed towards the end. I won't tell you what scene it's used in, but
I think it's exciting to see the deployment of musical cue or music in general in a film that is not leaning on this Philip Glass light.
And not leaning on the rhythm of, oh my God, you're breaking up with me.
It's almost like the sentimental, golden age of Hays Code era Hollywood, because it's like dream sequences, harp, or it's very programmatic and destructive uses of music. And I think one of the things I've always loved, and I'm sure Ralph would agree with this with Godard, is actually Godard's disruptive, disjunctive use of music. And he uses classical music, he'll use Bach and whatever, but he does it in such a way that kind of fits jarringly over into the body of the film in that kind of Bressonian way, that the image and the sound should be working counterpoint to each other.
Yes, which absolutely happens in several instances. And also doesn't it make that you don't actually find out, two of the main characters, you don't really find out what their job is.
I love that.
Until you do, but it's like loads of plot and establishment happens. Act 1 kind of hurtles along. And then I think it's like half an hour, maybe even 40 minutes in, I wasn't counting the clock at all because I was so wrapped. But it does. It's like really funny. You suddenly see them in their workplaces.
That's interesting.
Like halfway through, almost. It's just very interesting, but very like
They're podcasters, aren't they?
yeah, exactly.